SCHD just paid its largest dividend ever in December of 2023. Shout out to all my fellow SCHD holders out there enjoying the increased cash flow each and every year. This record-setting fourth quarter officially increased SCHD's dividend payments for the 12th consecutive year. Since dividends are paid on a per-share basis, this means that you have enjoyed more cash flowing into your pockets every single year, regardless of the price movement, for over a decade now. In this video, we'll dive deeper into the dividend history of SCHD. We'll also consider the price appreciation as well to get an idea of the total impact of a buy and hold strategy with this quality dividend ETF. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Jeff Teeples, and here we aim to grow your wealth with simple, time-tested solutions. If you enjoy videos like this, please smash that like button and drop me a comment below with your thoughts. Let's grow. Why SCHD over other dividend ETFs? SCHD is my favorite dividend ETF for a few different reasons. The first, and perhaps the most obvious, is that it's outperformed other dividend ETFs in the past. And when I say outperformed with my dividend ETF category, I care primarily about dividend yield, dividend growth rate, price appreciation, thus leading into total return. But before we even cross that bridge, any dividend ETF that I consider must be passively managed and have a low expense ratio. SCHD blows the competition away in these categories. Let's check it out. I grabbed some of the most popular dividend ETFs and put them in this chart here. And this data was pulled from Seeking Alpha as of 12/7/2023, just a few days ago. So you can see I took the three categories I spoke about earlier, and that's yield, 5-year dividend CAGR, and 10-year total return. And I stacked each one of these against one another. So for yield, the highest was SCHD, that got it a rank 1. And the second highest was VYM, that got it rank 2 at the 3.13 yield, and so on. And so what I did was I ranked each category and then gave an average rank at the end. And as you can see here, SCHD ranks first in yield among these dividend ETFs. It ranks first in 5-year dividend CAGR, the dividend growth rate, and it ranks second in total return behind DGRW, which is a hybrid growth dividend fund. If you look at the total rank, it's 1.3, and second place is 3, so it averages being ranked third in these categories. SCHD's primary strength is the balance between the holy trinity of yield, dividend CAGR, and total return. I also care that the dividend ETF complements my growth ETF from a sector perspective. SCHD is an amazing holding if you roll with QQQM or VGT as your growth ETF. Most of the other solid dividend ETFs, and there are some great ones, have way too much overlap with something like VGT to be a complementary holding. This will effectively turn it into a hybrid fund that won't excel in any one specific role. For example, DGRW is a popular dividend/growth fund lately. It has a 48% overlap with VGT, my growth holding, and a 43% overlap with SCHD, my dividend holding, whereas SCHD only has a 6% overlap with VGT. So if I could only buy one fund, I may go with something like DGRW because it gives me exposure to quality growth companies and quality dividend companies and everything in between. But a 50-50 mix of SCHD and VGT, as an example, absolutely crushes something like DGRW across the board over the last many years. Let's hop on over to my screen again so I can show you what I'm talking about here. We're going to use Portfolio Visualizer to backtest a 50-50 mix of SCHD and VGT against the two top performing total return dividend ETFs from the chart before. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking the last 10 years, this would be 2014 through 2023 with year-to-date included. I'm putting in some pretty big numbers here, 500,000 to start, contributing 1,000 a month. I want to be able to show the separation here. You know, the results will be proportionally the same with any numbers that you use. We're contributing the $1,000 monthly, rebalancing annually. We're gonna display the income, reinvest the dividends. So we're truly looking at total return here. And here's our portfolios. We have the 50-50 mix, mix of VGT and SCHD. We have DGRW, which was number 1 on the total return, and VIG, which was number 3 on the total return compared to SCHD. The point of this is that these ETFs are growth and dividend, whereas SCHD is a dividend ETF with low technology, and VGT is a growth ETF with tons of technology. So when you combine these two, it basically makes these. So as you can see, our ending result with the mix is 2.3 million. DGRW has an incredible 1.7 million, and VIG, Vanguard's Quality Growth Dividend ETF, has 1.5 million. And here's a year by year return. So you can see the blue one is our mix, and it outperforms almost every single year, except this down year. So not quite the downside protection, but you can see 9 of 10 years, it was the best performing portfolio. So the trailing returns, we'll look here at the annualized returns. For the full period, which is 1 month shy of 10 years, you have 15% for the mix, almost 12% for DGRW, which is great, and 10.3% for VIG. And just for context, the market VU comes right below DGRW at 11 and change. But here's the incredible thing. You're thinking, yeah, but VGT only has growth. It actually pays a decent dividend, and it low-key also grows it well. And as you can see, for income, as the years go by and you invest in these portfolios, the blue bar will pull away. This is the 50-50 mix, but you're still getting the most cash flow from it. Dividend history. Let's get this back on track. We're here to celebrate the amazing quarter that SCHD had for all of us holders. SCHD broke its all-time dividend record by paying 74.23 cents per share on December 11th, 2023. This is about 4 cents per share higher than the previous high, which was set in the second quarter of 22. And this came at a great time because, as many of you know, SCHD has been struggling over the last year and change. But when we zoom on out a little bit, it's looking as good as ever, and this might be a great buying window. I know that in my portfolio, as someone that has an equal mix of VGT, which is up about 47% this year total return, and SCHD, which is about flat, all I've purchased in 2023 is SCHD between those two. But I think I'm buying at a pretty good bargain. Now I'm going to share the complete SCHD dividend history so you can see for yourself just how much this bad boy has grown. We're out here on the dividends tab of SCHD on Seeking Alpha, which is the best website to research stocks and ETFs. And as you can see here under the dividend scorecard, we have some metrics here such as 3-year CAGR is just below 10%, 5-year dividend growth rate is just above 13%, and the 10-year growth rate is about 11%. So it's staying pretty solid. Here's the dividend summary. So its current yield is about 3.7%. Its trailing 12-month payout per share is $2.66, and its 5-year growth rate, as we saw above, is 13%. And here is the juicy, victorious 12 years in a row of increasing the dividends compared to the year prior. And here's the dividend growth chart. If you're a visual person, you can see it's gone from 90 cents a share all the way up to $2.56 in the last 10 years. And here's the dividend payout history, and I referenced it was the biggest quarter in SCHD history at the beginning of this video, and you can see that here. So this 74.23, that's 74 cents per share owned, paid on December 11th, right here for the pay date. That is the largest ever, and it passed the previous record holder, which was right here in 2022. It paid just over 70 cents per share. And you can see as you scroll back, these numbers were small, and hence the growth rate. You know, you're going from in the 20s and 30s historically. As you look down all the way up now, we're in the 60s and 70s consistently. So this baby is growing. This is a spreadsheet I keep on the side with all the dividend history of SCHD. And this might be a little easier to follow. So this is if you held 1,000 shares of SCHD, regardless of the price you paid. This is how the dividend payout. So this is the same information from Seeking Alpha. And I have all the behind the scenes inputs to populate this spreadsheet. This just gives you a visual of how much your dividends grow grow each year instead of just summing up the CAGR. So as you can see, in 2012, with 1,000 shares, you received 81 cents per share, which makes sense. There you go, 810. And this is how it progresses. So if you held those same 1,000 shares and did not reinvest, this is what you're looking at receiving in 2023, $2,600 as opposed to the 810. So you basically tripled in that short time frame. And this is a spreadsheet I'll continue to keep because normally what I do is I plug my shares in and I like to see how it trends. But for this video, I just put it in a smooth 1,000 and you can scale it to whatever you own. But this just shows how much this growth rate here will add up. It'll crush inflation. And as you can see, even with that huge dividend in Q4, we were only up 3.8%. It was actually about even before the quarter. So not the best year for SCHD on price and dividends. But if I'm a betting man, I look at its history and I think things will very likely get better in the future. I think SCHD will continue to grow its dividends in future years, but there's a lot more to this ETF than just dividends. Performance history. When we add up dividend payments with price appreciation, along with the compound effect of time, we get some wild results in the investing world. And this is why buy and hold investors consistently dominate traders in any era. And SCHD is no exception to this rule. When you buy and hold SCHD, the results speak for themselves over the years. Let's check out the scenario where someone bought a chunk of SCHD, held it forever, and consistently dollar cost averaged in over many years. All right, and just to show the price appreciation along with the dividends, I came back to that same scenario, last 10 years, 500K starting, $1,000 a month contribution, reinvest dividends on. We're just looking at SCHD this time, so 100% SCHD. If you started out with 500,000 and DCA'd in $1,000 a month, you would end with over 1.5 million. So when you add the dividends paid and the price appreciation, you've over tripled in that almost 10 years. And if you look at a year-by-year basis, the thing that's nice about SCHD is on its down years, which it has some down years, it's never too tragic. Whereas like VGT was down 30% in 2022, and the market, VU, was down about 20%. You can see SCHD was down only 3%. That's why that 50-50 combination of SCHD and VGT has outperformed the market, VU, each of the last 10 years. They counterbalance each other. When VGT is way down, SCHD is looking a little better. SCHD doesn't go up quite as much compared to VGT, but when you add them together, you get some good balance, and you never really have lost a ton of money here. 5.6% is the most that it's ever lost on total return in a year in the last 10 years. The annualized return's going to be a little lower without its growth counterpart, but it's still above 10%, and its cash flow has gone from $14,000 a year in our scenario up to, and this does not include Q4 yet on this website, so it's up to 51,000, so it'll be a little more, maybe 54,000 on this one, just by dollar cost averaging in, not selling, and staying the course. Please let me know some of your favorite dividend ETFs in the comments below. I really do love the back and forth with this community, you guys. And also check out one of these two videos if you want some more. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next Thursday. Sometimes on a Sunday. Peace.